Today in math, we were talking about the properties for addition and multiplication and how we can use them to make solving numerical expressions easier. I wanted to walk you through 3 examples that kind of go along with your homework and what we learned about today. The first problem I want to look at is 89 plus 27 plus 11. This problem is hard to do with mental math, so I'm going to use properties to help me solve this numerical expression. So the first property that I think I might want to use is the commutative property and shuffle these numbers around in an order that makes it easier to do the problem in my head. So I'm going to keep the 89 where it is, and I'm going to switch spots with the 11 and the 27. So by doing that, I use the commutative property of addition because of the plus signs. Now, with this, I can throw in the associative property of addition by figuring out which 2 numbers I want to add first and putting parentheses around them. So I'm going to choose to do 89 plus 11 first and put those into parentheses. So that was using the associative property of addition because of the plus signs in the problem. Now, this becomes a lot easier to solve in my head. So 89 plus 11 is 100. I'm going to keep the plus 27. And now this is even easier to solve in my head compared to the original problem. So 100 plus 27 is 127. So now if I look at this problem, 93 plus 68 plus 7. The 68 plus 7 is in parentheses. So I want to try and figure out how I can shuffle these numbers around and reorder them using the properties to help me solve this problem in my head. So I'm going to keep the 93 where it is, and I think that if I can get the 7 next to the 93, that would be really easy to do mental math with. So I'm going to shuffle the numbers around within the parentheses and use the commutative property. So all I did was switch the 68 with the 7. Now I can use the associative property and slide the parentheses over to now be around the 93 plus the 7. Because we know that when you put numbers inside parentheses, you have to do that first according to order of operations. So when I look at 93 plus 7, I get 100. And then I'm going to bring down the 68, and 100 plus 68 is a lot easier to do than the original problem was. So that would give me 168. The last problem I'm going to look at is going to utilize the distributive property. So I have the problem 3 times 78. I want to pull out this 3, and I want to figure out what number plus what number equals 78. So this is really easy because we've learned about place values. So the value of this 7 is 70, and the value of this 8, since it's in the 1's place value, is 8. So I can split up the number 78 into 70 plus 8. So now I'm going to use the distributive property to help me solve this mentally. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to the 70, so they become new best friends. And I'm going to distribute the 3 to the 8, so now they are best friends. To rewrite this, I'm going to create 2 new pairs. So I'm going to say 3 times 70, because I'm going to use this multiplication symbol. And then I'm going to add that to 3 times 8. Now, this becomes really easy to do in my head because 3 times 7 is a basic math fact. So that equals 21. And then since I have 1 0, I bring that down. And then I'm going to put the plus sign, and 3 times 8 is a basic math fact, and that is 24. 210 plus 24 is a lot easier to do in my head than 3 times 78. So this gives me 234.